Todd Bowles, who we see right here on your screen in just a second, is always graded on how his defense is performing. So, look, you can look at a lot of the statistics, but let's just, instead of analyzing all the statistics here on the show and throwing numbers at everybody, just overall, how is the defense doing so far through this year?
Great. I love splash plays. To me, that's what makes the defense great, is takeaways and sacks. And if you can affect the quarterback, this is a quarterback-driven league. The more you can affect the quarterback, hurt him, get him on the ground, rattle him, make his day awful, pick him off, that was what was missing from last year's defense.
You sound just like me.
Well, I know. That's why you're my favorite player. Because you did a lot of that, Rondé, you know. And so to me, I think that's the thing. 15 sacks in the last the last 3 games, 25 sacks this season. We're now seeing an average of about 2 takeaways per game. And the offense is cooperating by not turning the ball over, so you have that plus turnover margin, which we talked about. That, to me, is everything. And I think that's been the recipe for success. The games they haven't had that, they've lost. I mean, that's kind of the common denominator.
Right.
The big takeaway for me, and I think it's good for not just this year, but some years to come now, is you have multiple playmakers in the secondary.
Yes.
It's not just Antoine
been a while.
Winfield.
Right.
That's right.
It's been a while.
I like to think of Antoine Winfield, Tyke Smith, and Jacob Parrish.
Yes.
Who's had a phenomenal rookie season. And all those guys you can reasonably count on to make a big play.
Yes.
And maybe one of them the last game was Antoine Winfield.
Yeah.
But Jacob Parrish had a sack and Tyke had some tackles for loss.
That's right.
And I love the way Rondé and I were talking about it, because I'm trying to go to school before we got on, and I'm saying we played a lot of single high safety in that New Orleans game. And I know New Orleans isn't the toughest opponent of all time, but I asked Ronnie, do you think that's how Todd wants to play? Because and you agreed, right? And because if you have one of those two, and either guy can be your center fielder,
that's right.
The other guy, you can get him up there closer to the line of scrimmage where he can make a lot of plays.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what having a guy like Jacob Parrish, who is in my mind, the first real nickel we've had
since Murphy Bunting,
probably since Sean Murphy Bunting, because everybody else has been a safety trying to convert. And Todd told me this however many preseasons ago. He wants a guy that can play against the run. Like he's got to be physical. You look at Jacob Parrish, you don't say physical.
Yeah,
you put the tape on, all you see is physical.
Yeah.
Like you said, tackles for losses. Those are like sacks, dude.
They are.
They're equivalent to a sack. And I can't tell you how many tackles for loss Jacob Parrish has this year.
He had back-to-back ones on screen passes.
Yes,
out in the flat.
Yes,
he's an ankle biter, and I don't mind that. If you go down there and just wrap the legs, they're not going anywhere.
Yes, come up with a body part, Scott.
That's right.
That's the way I describe. Everybody's like, "Oh man, Rondé made a lot of tackles." I just came up with a body part.
Right.
Jacob Parrish is that kind of football player, right?
Take him away.
And then you had Tyke. So I know everybody likes to talk about Antoine Winfield Jr. and he should.
Yeah,
highest paid safety.
Tyke's a dog.
Tyke might be the most physical player on our defense,
no doubt.
Right? I don't know what his actual numbers are, but I stand next to him on the sideline, and I'm like, dude, this dude is a physical presence. And then you watch him throw like guards and tackles around.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He threw a tackle out of the way and made a tackle 2 weeks ago. I was like, all right, he's just different.
He brings an edge to the secondary. Like, I love Antoine, and I look at the psychology of football a lot. Antoine's smiley, happy, shiny people, and Zion's the same way. Nice guy in the world. Give me the dog. And you need that. You need to have that fire starter, that dog at different levels of your defense. And you guys kind of had that too a little bit.
We had a lot of that.
Yeah.
We had a lot of angry workers is what we had.
That's
and it kind of feels like that's what this secondary is right now. Right? You can even say Jamel Dean, who I said was my comeback player of the year last week, got 3 interceptions. Right? He's clearly getting pushed, from the rookies, from BMO and Jacob Parrish. Like both of those guys could be starters on the outside.
That's right.
This is the best year that Jamel Dean has had.
And if he's pissed, he's hiding it pretty well, because walking around
he's just a jovial guy. He's smiling. I've never seen a smile not on that guy's face.
Yeah.
Now, if you had told me going into the season that we would be at the bye week and that we would have had, look, there was some promise with David Walker. You have no Kalijah Cansey. And also, too, you don't have Hassan Reddick right now. So a lot of key pieces missing, and the defense clearly is holding their own. So
that's funny you say that, because Scott and I were talking about this before we got on, and it's a tenet of a Todd Bowles defense. They're interchangeable spots, right? Like he'll call a defense, and I mean I could pull up the calls, I could tell you what they are, but he'll call a defense, and it's not necessarily for the nickel or for the linebacker or for the edge guy. It's like you could put anybody in any of those positions. It's why everybody on the team gets a chance to rush the passer, which is really fun to watch.
15 players have at least half a sack.
Half a sack.
And 7 have at least 2.
Yes. 7 have at least 2. Like last week, Jacob Parrish got hurt, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, Jacob Parrish got hurt, and Zion McCollum went inside to play nickel. And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Scott, obviously, the intrepid Bucs reporter who's always there and sees everything. He's like, oh, yeah.
Applause button for Scott.
He took snaps in there. But the way the defense didn't change.
That's right.
Like, he just went in and played the spot, right? And then BMO went out to corner. Benjamin Morris went out to corner. And, he blitzed. He played in the flat. He played half field. And it's just like whoever can play any one position, can play any position in Todd's defense. I think that's probably why we're seeing so much success with this defense this year, because they understand it.
Well, and I think too, it's selfless. How many times now Servasi Dennis has got 2 sacks on the season, but how many times has he been the guy? And go back to the Seattle game. He was the first guy through. He's a linebacker. He's closest to the ball, right? His job was to occupy the blocking back to allow Winfield to come in free on that weak side blitz to affect the pass that was picked up by Levante David.
Right.
And it's like when you have selfless players that know that they're going to get theirs, they're going to get their blitz dialed up. But in this role, Levante, you've got to occupy the blocking back, or we're gonna fire zone, and you got to take on the guard, Levante, right? And it's like these guys don't care. It truly is a locker room that is all for one and one for all. And I give Todd Bowles credit. I've covered this team for 30 years. Tony Dungy, John Gruden, even Bruce Arians, 3 best coaches of all time, their locker room was not as tight and as rowing in the same direction as this one. And that is a direct reflection on Todd Bowles.
Right.
And that's a perfect segue, because I want to get into coaching. Right. And just overall, let's just really quickly gloss over this, because it is a section here that we have on our State of the Bucs show. Yeah. Coaching. How state of the Bucs? Just talk to me about overall how the coaches are doing in that locker room and how their performance is.
Scott Smith, you've been quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I would start with the offensive line guys.
Yeah. Oh God.
What they've had to work through.
Yeah. Right.
With I'm blanking
on
Kevin Carberry?
Kevin Carberry and Piccolo.
I was like, where are you going?
I was trying to. Those guys have done a phenomenal job.
Carbs is the Carberry.
He's a guru.
He might be the best offensive line coach in football. I mean, he had our starting center. Granted, he played tackle in college.
Yeah,
moved him out to tackle. Moved this guy to Bredesen to center.
Michael Jordan off the practice squad.
Practice squad. Yeah. Right, like flawlessly.
Yes.
Like. No other team. I don't think a team. I don't know that I've seen a team ever do that.
I know.
Move your center to left.
Yeah, just that type of movement.
A little tangent here. Think about the draft value that the Buccaneers got out of both Luke Gedeke and Graham Barton.
Yes.
You drafted them to play left guard and center respectively.
Yes.
And you end up with a really good right tackle that you got in the second round, and you got a center who's good. That if you need him to, he can play left tackle.
Yeah. Right.
That's incredible return from those draft picks.
Yeah, that's Jason.
That just
Light.
Doesn't happen.
That's Jason Light and his group finding guys. Well, first of all, we're talking about coaches, so you have to draft guys that fit into the culture.
Yes,
guys that love football. We talk about this all the time.
It's a must.
on this show, and every time you talk about the Bucs, they've drafted guys that care about football.
Yeah,
they're not ever going to be like. I don't know what the polite word to say.
Well, they're not selfish players.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they're just not going to be like asses.
They're not malcontents.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. They're not malcontents.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me the word that I was looking for. The polite word that I was looking for.
Right.
I was going to use a word that we're going to have to bleep out of the show.
Sure.
But the locker room, because of the way they've drafted, the type of player that they've drafted,
they assimilate.
Yes. It allows you to do what we're talking about. So to me, it's about coaching, yes, but it's also about how this team has been assembled. So Jason,
Oh, you want the applause button? Here,
Applause
applause button for Jason Light.
There's a reason this team wins.
Yes.
And it's because of the way that this roster is constructed.
I'm going to give Todd Bowles an awful lot of props because he's had to do a couple things this offseason. And I told him, I love everything that you've done this offseason, and it's paying dividends now. He identified the need for, we need ball hawks, right? We need guys with instincts that can actually go make plays. And part of that was getting Tyke Smith from the 70 to 75% play snap to 100% by moving him to strong safety. Jordan Whitehead was an absolute failure last year. It just didn't work out. He came back. There were high hopes. He was not the same guy, right? This is a huge upgrade because now, to Scott's point, you have 2 interchangeable playmaking safeties. It can be either one of those guys' day every single week, right? But with Todd Bowles, part of it was game management. We saw the atrocious clock management, game management, flag throwing usage, when to call the timeouts. He never would call a timeout in the first half. A lot of game management type problems. And that's not uncommon when you are not a walk-around coach, when you're an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. It's hard to do both. But I give him so much credit for identifying that, knowing that he had to get better, and he goes out and gets Zach Beislein.
Right.
And it's not like Zach Beislein is there to whisper in his ear what to do on game days. Todd, you're going to want to call the timeout now. No, they spent time together in the offseason going through scenarios, watching all of last year's game film. In this situation, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Now, what should you have done? Right? And he's getting coached up.
Right.
And I can't remember any particular instance where I've disagreed with the timeout usage, not calling a timeout here, game strategy,
using and running the clock.
Yes,
like knowing like time's going to run out on the other team. We're going to. I noticed that.
He's gotten better. I
noticed that in the preseason.
Yes,
but like irrelevant, meaningless games.
Yes,
not for us because Chris Myers and I called that on WFLA.
That's right.
Your official Bucs station.
Yeah.
But I noticed it then. Yeah. And I remember talking to Jason. I was like, "Where did Zach come from?" Zach came from Jacksonville.
Yep.
Like. They took Liam. We took Zach. we got the better deal, and we got the better deal of it because of how we've managed games.
Yes,
I see it every single week now. How we manage games, going into half specifically.
Yes,
trying to steal a possession, trying to make sure that they don't get a chance to steal a possession.
Yeah.
Like those things matter at the end of the day, and that's all Zach.
We're 8 games in, and that has not been an issue.
Yes, right.
I'm keeping score here. I think that Scott now has given singled out Todd Bowles for praise. I think 3 times on this show. That it's a Todd
Coach of the Year candidate.
It's a Todd Bowles love fest in here. And you know what Todd Bowles has to say about that?
It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's exciting if you're Todd Bowles. Because we have an hour-long program here and we have to keep things moving. One thing I really want to bring up here is we're talking about coaching in the front office. We're just, of course, coming off of the trade deadline and, of course, crickets from the Buccaneers. So as we look at the significant lack of moves from the Bucs, there wasn't a ton. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the blockbusters here in just a moment, a little bit later on in the program. But surprised, not surprised by the Bucs not making that move that was going to, add a reinforcement or two on both sides of the ball.
I don't think I'm
not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised nor disappointed.
Do we have any significant midseason trades in our?
There's one.
Steve McClendon.
Steve McClendon. That's it.
That's the last
2020
one.
Super Bowl.
And he helped.
Right.
Yeah, he helped because Vita was down.
Right.
Why is that? Why did the Bucs always sit on the sidelines during this time of year?
It's It's not just you'd love to add guys, but it's how much it costs, and that's very important to Todd. Like Jalen Phillips, I think Jalen Phillips is a great player.
Yeah.
And it's a position we could use help at. And it's a position where you don't have to displace somebody because it's a rotational position. So you could just add him to the mix. Would I love to have Jalen Phillips? Yeah. He went for a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah.
Do you want to give up Jacob Parrish?
Jacob Parrish, Tyke Smith, Jalen McMillan. Yep. Even day 3 picks. Jason Light looks at 4th-rounders like Bucky Irving, Kate Otten. 5th-rounders, that's Zion McCollum. That's Elijah Roberts. That's Servacio Dennis. 7th-rounder now. He can sit there and say, man, that's Tez Johnson. He has been on such a heater with Mike Greenberg, Rob McCartney, Mike Beal. That whole front office, they're on such a heater with the draft. And the thing is from the salary cap perspective, shout out you, Mike Greenberg, you're getting with a 3rd-round pick, you're getting a potential starter for 4 years on a rookie deal that helps your salary cap, that helps you re-sign the Luke Gedekes, the Mike Evans, the Baker Mayfields, all those type of guys. Whereas With Jalen Phillips, you acquire him, and I think he's either in a contract year or that's next year.
It's his contract year.
Yeah, he's going to have a massive cap hit, so then you're tied to him whether he performs well or not.
Right. And you have the option of losing him if he
give up a
then
third
you're
round
renting
pick.
a player.
Yeah, then you're just renting a player. So to answer your question, JB, that's why we don't go to work like that.
No one in this entire building at WFLA, no one that I heard from was ever expecting there to be a trade. It was just expected to be, a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
As we move on to a little bit of the rest of the program here in just a moment, as we wrap up our State of the Bucs, I'm going to put everyone here on the spot.
Okay.
With the State of the Bucs, give me a word. A word right now, one singular word that describes where the Bucs are right now as a franchise midway through the 2025 NFL season. Who would like to go first? Resilient. Interesting.
Sorry.
Great minds think alike. That's a great.
Great minds think alike.
Right, I mean,
that's the word for the season.
I think 4 seconds. Scott Reynolds had the word resilient. That's pretty good. You got one, Rondé?
Oh, Scott. I'm waiting for Scott. I got to finish. It's my show. I got to be the last one. By the way, my AI camera's not working. Come on, AI.
It's gone purple on you.
Yeah, it's gone purple.
Throw up a hand. It'll find you. Hold on.
Whatever.
I don't know. I think I'll go back to what I was saying at the very beginning of the show, and for the remainder of the season, I think resilience is the perfect word so far, and we're going to need that. But I'm feeling uncertain. I got to be honest. I don't know how how each game's going to go. Mm-hmm. Last year we would have known, like Scott said, we're going to go out there and score 30 points. So I guess it's entertaining.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Great one.
Yeah.
Scrappy is the one I'm going to use.
Yeah. Scrappy. Why Scrappy? Tell me.
Because
that was you, Rondé.
Because this team easily could be 3-5 right now. Mm-hmm. They easily could have watched.
That about a lot of teams.
Right.
Yeah.
But in order to be 6-2, you got to be scrappy. And we found ways to win games when they didn't look like we were going to win them.
You know what else they've done though is they've won the games they should have won.
That's right.
And look at Green Bay.
Yeah.
Losing to Carolina, losing to Cleveland.
Yep.
They're not winning. They should be in first place in the NFC.
Win the
Buccaneers
winnable
beat
games.
New Orleans.
That's right.
I'll just remind us that
Jets.
it did not look like we were going to win the Jets game at one point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and we won that game.
It's fluky.
I mean, it was what it was.
Yeah.
You only play.
We dominated most of that game.
You only play the games that are on your schedule.
That's right.
We dominated most of that game.
Got to win them all.
And the word I'll throw out there, thrilling, only because I think there have been some real great football games the first half of the season.
Yeah, they've been
the
fun.
one in Seattle was I was losing my mind, losing my voice, screaming at the top of my lungs, having fun watching that game. The Bucs are a fun football team. Speaking of fun, we're going to talk about the NFL trade deadline when the Rondé Barber Show returns.